let's talk about the comeback and the first record post hiatus. You only put out the one music video from it. I'm not sure whether there was other singles, but I mean, let's talk about Enduring the Dream. Like, even if that was the only single from the record, the song title alone kind of encapsulates everything that you've told story-wise just then in the lead up to that. But then combining the story that you've just told with the music video that visualizes that song, which I'm assuming was filmed on the My Chemical Romance run.
Yeah.
I mean,
we weren't pretending that was our stadium headline.
No, but but still, bro. Like, oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know if you know this. It's a Guns N' Roses tactic from Paradise City, I think, where
they played that stadium, didn't they?
And they used the footage. I mean, they really made it look like it was their show, whereas we were just like, everyone knew we were not a stadium band, you know. So like, but so that's that song in particular, "Enjoying the Dream." There's a lyric in the song, "Ambition's an affliction, every moment is a mission," and that sums up my life. Like, I don't envy people who do like a day job. All my friends, but I can't not do this. And like, the ambition is an affliction. Every moment's a mission. And that doesn't mean I'm like trying to like. I just feel I can't not do this. And the mental toll that can take over. Like, I've been doing this since I was 11. Me and Mark, my drummer, formed. You know, we very Spinal Tap, but we must have had like 20,000 bands between 11 and 20 when we did LostAlone. But and we're still together now. Like, and what's my point? Yeah, to me, it is a thing that, like, it's not like I could just go, and I have, and there's no offense to this at all, but over my time, I play with bands where instantly I can go, well, this isn't, you don't need to do this. You're cool, but you, I'm sure you guys, have met it, and they're totally cool people. But like, for me, there's no part of like success or not success or anything. This is what I have to do, and I find, and somehow, like, there's a kind of weird way that I seem to manifest. Like, I seem to just say things in my head and then they end up somehow like, because I meant to say earlier, before Gerard and Ray called me, I thought to myself, I reckon My Chemical come back and I reckon they'll ask us to do stuff. I mean, I honestly, I've always done that. And I often think to myself, like, so I'm just going off on another one now, just feel free to stop me. But like, because I only ever talk about this stuff when I do cool interviews like this, but like, I sometimes think, like, how is it that, like, I don't know if you know all this, but like, the way I'm sat here now is my band formed LostAlone, and we played on the side stage at Taste of Chaos in Manchester. There's a festival called Taste of Chaos, right? And it was
what
Green
year was
Gaffer.
That? Huh? What year was that? Because I was at one of those.
I don't know the year, but I know that Under Oath, Taking Back Sunday, Alexis on Fire.
I was at that show.
God,
yeah, I was at that
awesome.
show. 2005 or 6,
maybe six. Six. So this is what happened, right? So we were in a green Gafford area on the side, while Alexis on Fire crew on line checking. So I could hear them line checking while we were playing. So we're like going for it, really new band, so excited, like probably one of the biggest crowds we've played to, like Manchester Apollo, which I was at the other day for Mars Volta, but I digress. And I looked round and I was like, Take Back Sunday are watching us and Under Oath are watching us. And I thought in my head, that's so cool that like the band's watching the bands. What I didn't realise is they come down because they heard how incredible we were. Just joking on. But and then what happened was, so at the end of the show, the Take Back Sunday guys asked if we could be added to more shows, and we were like, amazing. And then at the end of the run, Take Back Sunday's front of house asked for a CD, and their guitar tech asked for a CD. And the front of house became Paramore's front of house for the next tour, and the guitar tech became second in command under Brian Schechter of My Chem. And within 2 weeks of that, Gerard Way called me and said, your album's like my favourite thing I've ever heard. And then invited me to the Black Parade tour in Nottingham, went and met him, all cool. Everyone's joking around about, like, Gerard does not stop listening to your record. I'm just going, I've just watched like the Black Parade. It was awesome. And then that was it. Then we said, let's keep in touch. And then Haley got in touch and we did the Riot release shows. And then we did 3 tours with Paramore. And everyone thought we were buying onto tours. I mean, literally, we had no money. And we were borrowing money off my mum. I think my mum took out a credit card for one of the tours we did. God. But And then the last part of that funny story is that the same week Gerard had got in touch, I got a call from his assistant or whoever it was from a hotel like 3 days later going, "What are you doing on Sunday?" And I was like, "Oh, just rehearsing." It's like, "Cool. Thursday I've just been dropped and I've got to fly back to America. Can you come to Dublin and join the Black Parade tour?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Let me think about that for a second. Yep.
Yeah, but then I said, "Oh, I don't know if we could afford it." And they were like, "How much you need?" And I just went, £1,000. Like, I didn't know what to say. Anyway, cool. See us bank details, and that started a huge relationship with the Mike M guys, which is still like I've been out there, wrote stuff out there with them. Not for Mike M. I'll be clear to say that, but I wrote with the guys with Ray, and we just become friends because it's. Obviously, there's a big disparity in success, but in terms of where we come from and what we like and our attitude to everything, it is very similar. And my point that I was actually going to make ages ago before this was, I find it so odd that like I remember watching and saw Helena on Scuzz, and I sat there and I thought, and I used to go to this club called the Blue Note. I never used to drink. I used to stand on my own. This is before the band did anything. I used to watch the dance floor. And when a song came on that I loved, like Helena, I then would get this adrenaline rush and I would run 3 miles home to a parent's house and just dream things on the way. And one of the things I always think is, how many other people were watching that Helena video and going, I've got a connection with them. I reckon that we'll do stuff. But I thought it. And then I've got Gerard writing a 2-page thing in NME saying that my band saved his life. And there's this connection. I know every word, like, and I sometimes wonder, like, and I'm not just saying that as like a name drop about Mike M, but a lot of things that happen, like in my band things, where I sometimes wonder, like, I don't understand how these weird, because the amount of other people I think would have thought that same thing, and for me, like, it just was manifestedly, and somehow there was a connection, and we genuinely felt like there's a connection, and we just, you know, it's like what, like 15 years later, and they asked us to do stadium shows and we'd talk, and you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just super cool. Anyway, I don't know what the question was,
bro.
But
I think there is. I mean, I don't understand it, but there's obviously there is something in, like, if you manifest. Oh, manifestation is like a weird sort of word that people have taken over recently. But I feel like if you will something enough, then things can happen. If you believe it enough in yourself and you try hard enough,
hell yeah,
things will happen.
I think it's about listening to your inner monologue as well. Like, you strike me as someone telling that story just then who's always been very in touch with themselves and very in touch with where your purpose on this planet lies, and hearing you have such an affinity with, you know, like a Mike M song that you saw on Scuzz, and then, you know, that kicking you off to running, like being the energy kicking off to you running home.
Yeah,
it's like you hear people still tell stories like that, and you can tell that within the essence of their energy, it's something they were put on this planet to fucking do. And it's like you don't have that wave of emotion come over you from music unless you have an affinity with this thing that humanity's created, and it's something that you are destined to then be within yourself. And like hearing you talk just then about like the connection that, you know, you formed with the band that you were listening to in that circumstances, it sounds like the universe always had this in mind for you, which is so awesome to see, because hearing you tell these stories about, you know, this crazy storied career that you've had will then only go on to inspire other people. I mean, you just mentioned that you're working with artists like Noah Finch and like Bex as well. It's like, you know, having someone like you who has lived this life and paved this path and goes, anything is possible as long as you're crazy enough to fucking go after it.
I think that's the key there. It's about, like, it's the crazy element. Yeah. I think maybe other people go, nah. I thought that, but what? But like, yeah, I definitely always been driven. That's fact. Like, I've always been like, well, obviously we're gonna play Reading. You know, like, well, that's just what you do. Like, yeah, and I think what I do think about a lot now is like all that one moment at Taste of Chaos is the reason we're talking. Like, it did take that. That's why. I mean, maybe there was other routes to stuff, but like, these things. I think the point I was trying to make is these things keep happening to me.